Put the fucking mic on.
How we doing, folks? It's your boy DB, Barstool Sports Starting 9, and you are listening to the End of the Bench. Scoot your ass down.
Welcome to another edition of End of the Bench bonus podcast. We're talking episodes 3 and 4 of The Last Dance. Last Monday, I dropped a recap of episodes 1 and 2. Unbelievable show. And 3 and 4 was even better. I mean, 1 and 2 are like a warm-up just to keep us on the edge of our seats. Because we ended with Scottie Pippen is once out. Michael Jordan is really starting to get into his own after his rookie year and second year. And now it's episodes 3 and 4 together. It was about the Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys, and Dennis Rodman. This first episode that we watched last night, episode 3, was insane. I learned so much about Michael Jordan that I didn't even know about. It was crazy. So this was talking about the Bad Boys, and we also talked about, and we heard about Dennis Rodman, the beginning of his career, coming up as a youngin' and went through his Pistons days. I mean, if you guys didn't see the 30 for 30 documentary on Dennis Rodman, I did. I kind of knew a lot going in. But there were still a lot of things I didn't know about Dennis Rodman that the 30 for 30 documentary left out. Which I don't know if that was on purpose or not. But let's get into episode 3, and then we'll get into episode 4 right after that. So, let's start off with Doug Collins. Doug Collins, longtime coach. He first started his career in '86 with the Bulls. We know that from learning from this episode and the episode prior, right? But we really get to focus on the 1989 season where they lose in the conference finals. But let's talk about the fact that Doug Collins got the job. Jerry Krause saw Collins as a great fit with his super young team, and Collins and Jordan fit like a perfect match made in heaven right away. Jordan said he was a breath of fresh air. They were just in sync, back and forth. They were in sync, and then it just worked. I think one of the cool stories was that Collins would always go super hard in practice, right? Would always go hard, and Michael liked that. But there was one practice in particular that Michael thought that Collins was rigging the score, and Michael Jordan's the most competitive human being alive. And Michael thought he was cheating, and he stormed off the court. This is young Michael. This is in '89. So this is his third season. So we're thinking that, this is, oh my God, this is the end of this. I mean, these guys just started, and now they're fighting. And then the next day, reporters asking, you talk to Jordan? And then Collins like, hey, look, we're fine. And then, you see it legit seconds right after that, Collins sees Jordan from afar and says, get over here, kiss me on the cheek, and just show her whether we're good. And they were. They're fine. The fact that it was a breath of fresh air for Jordan, seeing this, that Collins could win with Jordan, and they were gelling like that, I mean, it was, I'll be honest with you, I knew a lot about Michael Jordan. I didn't know Doug Collins coached a young Jordan. I had no idea. I knew Doug Collins was, he coached the 76ers. I knew that. That was, from 2010, 2011 season to 2012, 2013. But, I don't know. There's some things I'm just learning. So, another thing about Collins was that he was, just full of energy. You would see him on the sidelines, soaking wet, full of energy, like he was just playing in a game. I mean, he was doing some ridiculous sweating through his clothes. It was gross, but this is exactly what the Bulls wanted, and this is what Jerry Krause wanted, and Jordan loved it. It really helped out MJ early on in his career. They were always on the same page, and he got Michael's cosign right away. Imagine getting Michael's cosign. That's got to be unbelievable. Saying, all right, I like you. let's get it going now. That's got to be an unbelievable feeling. Now, Doug Collins coached MJ from 1986-87 season to 1988 to 89. We'll talk about the reasons why he was let go in the 89 season, after the 89 season, excuse me. But when Collins coached Jordan became the best player in the NBA. This was the time where he became the best. Not the best, he was starting to become the best player in the NBA during that time period. He won an MVP, All-Star Game MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, scoring title, and a dunk champ. Sounds pretty good to me. So let's get to the 1989 Eastern Conference First Round Series, Bulls-Cavs, epic series, back and forth affair. The Cavs were absolutely the favorite in this matchup, without a doubt. I mean, every Chicago reporter was saying Cavs. And there's 3 reporters that were mentioned in the doc. I think only one of them talked. Sam Smith, has been reoccurring the last 4 episodes now. So it was Lacey Banks, Kent McDill, and Sam Smith. Banks said Cavs in 3. McDill said Cavs in 4. And Sam Smith said Cavs in 5. Now, Michael stopped them all at the same time right before the game. Saw them all together at the same time. He pointed at Banks. He's like, we covered you. You're good. This was Banks in 3. He looks at McDill. I said Cavs in 4. We covered you. We're good. And then he looks at Sam Smith. He's like, we're taking care of the Cavs in 5, so then you'll be good in about after this game. So, like, he's pointing at all of them. It's like, check mark, check mark, check mark. We're ready to go. At the time, the Bulls were always that team that could not be clutch, right? Always lost in the big moment. 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. It's 199. Everyone knew the ball was going to go to Michael, right? Everybody knew. Now, at the time, that Cavs team, the best defender was Ron Harper. Ron Harper was playing defense, I would say more than half the game on Jordan and was playing pretty well. But their coach decided about Craig Ehlo. Now, Craig Ehlo got absolutely torched in this documentary for a short period of time, but Jerry Krause was the victim in the first night, in night 1, and then the second night of these documentary series that come out, Craig Ehlo was that guy to get shot down hard. So Craig Ehlo was guarding MJ at the time, which Michael Jordan said, which was a mistake. Tough night for Craig. We all know this was going to come up eventually, but now Michael's saying it was a mistake for him to cover me. And then Ron Harper was asked, why aren't you covering him? And the coach said, we'll put Ehlo on him. And he's like, okay, all right, cool. Fuck that bullshit. Fuck this bullshit, he says. Fuck this bullshit. That's right there. One of the best quotes of the doc right there. And then we saw the shot on Ehlo. It's good. It's good. One of the most famous sports calls of all time. Now, someone wrote before the game that the Bulls were going to go home. And the famous clip of him after the shot, he's off to the right side of the court. He's in midair, fist pumping, swinging his fist. I've always wanted to know what he said. And Michael Wilbon was interviewed in this documentary. He says, as he's jumping up in the air, he was screaming, "Go home, motherfuckers, go home." Because the reporters were telling the Bulls were going to go home after Game 5. And this was like, holy fuck, I didn't know that. That's fucking sick. I was always wondering what the hell what was he saying, because it's so hard to read his lips. I don't know why. I could never guess. I'm pretty good at lip reading, but it was kind of hard. I'm not going to lie. So now let's fast forward to the 1989 Eastern Conference Finals, Bulls versus Pistons. What a wild series. Bulls take Game 1. Pistons then take Game 2. The Bulls winning Game 3 in a wild finish. And probably, I would say, fuck this bullshit, Ron Harper quote was a very good quote. And then we saw Doug Collins' quote asking, why was Michael getting the ball? What was the plan? What was the play set up towards the end of that sequence? And Doug Collins said, get the ball to Michael, and everyone else get the fuck out of the way. And guess what? That's how it really was his entire career. Just give Michael the ball and get out of the way. But that was Doug Collins' way of coaching, right? That was the way of coaching for him. We'll learn that his way of coaching didn't last long as the Bulls head coach. Well, that's more of towards the second part, episode 4, where you kind of learn why it really didn't work out for him. So after game 3, we get a description of what the Jordan rules are from former Pistons assistant coach Brendan Malone. Now, Brendan Malone, longtime assistant, longtime guy in the NBA, really told us exactly what the Jordan rules are. Because these Jordan rules were implemented to everybody, but this Jordan rule was really just all about Michael. So the rules are: 1, on the wings, push him to the elbow, don't let him drive the baseline. Okay. If that doesn't happen, you go to step number 2. When he's on the top, influence him to his left. And 3, when he got the ball in the low post, trap him from the top. And if he gets in the paint, knock him to the ground. That was the Jordan rule. And they implemented that right away. Pistons win game 4, 5, and 6. Knock the Bulls out. Pistons play the Lakers, and the Pistons sweep the Lakers 4-0. And that was a real learning experience for Michael Jordan, knowing that he needs to get stronger. He needs to get better, and they need to win. We'll get back to this rivalry in a second, but the next phase of this episode 3, we dive into Dennis Rodman. Now, if you didn't watch the documentary on 30 for 30 about Dennis Rodman, you missed some pretty cool stuff about him and how he thinks, and how he was a father and this whole career. But you still learn the same amount of stuff in that documentary that's in this one, and you also learn a little bit more in this one. There's something I didn't know, like him and Madonna, which we'll get in a second. So the early years, he was not only a great player, but one of the more energetic, personalities that sports have ever seen. He has, one of the most unique backstories, including 2 years, as he called it, he was living on the street. He said his mother kicked him out of the house when he was 18, and he was essentially homeless until he was 20. During that time, Rodman says he was hanging out around drug dealers, but was always able to keep his nose clean, which is funny because we fast forward in, years later in his career, he's this bad boy, goes out every night, drinks, and I'm sure he did a lot of drugs too, but, big partier. So as a Detroit Piston, one of the cool quotes here, Brendan Malone says this: "You don't put a saddle on a Mustang." Malone told Chuck Daly just told him to leave him alone at a practice, right? He's moving, they're trying to teach him certain things. You don't put a saddle on a Mustang, which means just, look, leave the kid alone. He's got it. And guess what? He did. He was unbelievable during his Pistons career. We all know the guy didn't score. He averaged 6.4 points a game. That's it. 6.4. Not a ton. I'm sorry, that was his postseason career. He averaged 7.3 points per game. Now, during his young Detroit run, he was a force. An absolute force. Towards the end of his Detroit career, he was unbelievable. He averaged 18.7 boards a game in 1991-92 season. And then the next year, 92-93, which was his final year, averaged 18.3 boards a game. Now, we find out right early on that there was a point in time where Rodman, as a young Piston, was had some depression issues, was kind of all over the place, didn't know really who he was, So there was a point in time in the 92-93 season where he was just picked up and left, had a gun in his car, and nobody knew where he was. They did a police report. Police were trying to find him. They found he was just dead asleep in his car, and the Pistons ended up trading him. Just let him go. He got traded to the Spurs. Was there for 2 years, from 1993, 94 season to the 1994, 95 season. Still averaged 17, 16 boards a game. But the fit wasn't there. This is exactly when we start seeing a legit different Dennis Rodman. He dyes his hair blonde. He's become the Demolition Man. He is just a totally different human being. And oh yeah, guess who he runs into? Madonna. Madonna thinks he's a little cute. Then they start dating a little bit. And we all know that Madonna is this extremely influential, recording artist. They're one of the best ever. She did not give a shit what she wore and what she did, because she said, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. And she learned that Dennis wanted to do that, but he was almost afraid to. Basically, Madonna told him, just be who you are. And she turned Rodman into who he is today. He started getting the nose piercings, wearing the glitter and the gold jacket. He starts dyeing the hair blonde and dyeing the hair red and green and whatever. He's got the lip rings, nose rings. He got 3 or 4 earrings on his ears. His nails are painted. He's just being who he's always wanted to be. Well, those 2 years in San Antonio, it was, I would say, from what the footage looked like, it wasn't a fun time for Rodman. They weren't winning that much. He was playing good, but he wasn't. He was used to winning with those Pistons, right? So the Bulls, Jerry Krause, saw an opportunity to bring Rodman over. They were looking for a trade, and they got him. So Phil, for the first time, meets Rodman. Super awkward. Not a lot of respect. Phil says, get up, shake my hand, look at me in the face. And he says, do you want to be here? And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Sure. There's no respect. But Krause gets him to the Bulls, and the trade is successful. And guess what? He fit like a glove, man. An absolute glove with the Chicago Bulls. He fit right in. That's what Scottie Pippen just said. He fit right in. MJ said, he's one of the smartest guys I've ever played with. They're gelling. They're looking good. And now the documentary fast forwards back to where the main topic of the documentary is 1998. January 10th, 1998, Pippen is back. He decides he wants to come back. He says that, look, I understand what's going on. I don't want to go anywhere. I know I'm on the trading block. If I get traded, fine. But I want to stay. So then we see now Rodman dye his hair blonde and write number 33 in black a bunch of times in his haircut saying, let's go, we're back. And at the time, it's kind of, if you guys pay attention, it could get a little confusing. But the whole time, the last 4 episodes, they're going a lot of back and forth, right? They find a topic in the 1998 season, and then they go back in time to talk about more of it. Like in the second episode, we're seeing a lot of Pippen in 98, and then we're going to go back and talk about Pippen in his entire career, high school, college, getting drafted, amazing through his run with the Bulls, and then we go back to where we were before, 98, saying he wants to get traded. He's like, I can't take this anymore. I'm done. I hate Jerry Krause. I'm done. So this is what we're doing with Rodman now. So now we're back in 98. Pippen's played, I think he had 12 points, 5 boards, something light. But Jordan and Rodman were gelling together while Pippen was out. Now Pippen comes back, and now Rodman becomes the third wheel again. And then Rodman goes the fuck off the rails. Dennis wants a vacation. He tells Phil, I need to go to Vegas. And then Phil goes to Michael and says, yeah, Robin needs a little break. What the fuck you mean a little break? Imagine today. Like fucking Kevin Durant goes to Steve Kerr. It's like, I need a break. Wow, he's on the Nets now. See how out of touch I am with the NBA because there's no basketball? Imagine he goes, no, it's not, I don't know. Let's think of a different player. Steph Curry goes to, that was bad. If Steph Curry goes to Steve Kerr and says, fuck it, I need a break. I need a break. Shit wouldn't fly like that now. Are you kidding? Dennis Rodman was the best defensive player in the NBA. The best rebounder in the NBA. One of the best players, all-around players in the NBA, and he's like, fuck, I need a break, man. I can't do this shit anymore. I need a break. So, can it be 48 hours? Rodman, can you come back in 48 hours? Yeah, sure. I can come back. So he gets the okay, and he's off. Final scene, you see him drink the mineral, which is so weird and so not safe. He's drinking a Miller Lite. He's walking out of the stadium. He's wearing his leather jacket, leather pants. He's drinking a Miller Lite, and he hops on the back of a motorcycle, and he rides off into the sunset. First of all, that's what's called drinking and driving. That could be a serious DUI. So, we don't want to see that at all during today's days, or even back then. But besides the point, weird ending. But a perfect ending because he didn't fly, he's going off into the sunset. And then we're left with this cliffhanger, which we find, the episode starts with seconds after. But it's a great way to end episode 3 because now we're going to go into his wild 48 hours. Starting episode 4. But to end off this funny moment, I find it's hilarious. We saw it. It was very, very short. But the Sniff Brothers. We were introduced by the Sniff Brothers. MJ had these bodyguards. There's about 6 of them. It looked like, I want to say that there's the 2 twins. There's the one guy with the beautiful Jerry curls. Yeah, I think there was like 5 or 6, right? So they were called the Sniff Brothers because the sniff part came from being around Michael and joking, saying they would sniff Michael's jockstrap because they're so damn close to him all the time. But you're telling me the last line of defense was like these 5 or 6 middle-aged, out of shape men in these, sports coats? I think was hilarious, and the hairdo's hilarious. But that fact they're all like, the Sniff Brothers. What a wild title and a wild, name for a group of dudes covering the best player in the NBA. Which, I feel like, I would think there'd be better guys than that. I mean, they're totally out of shape. There's someone who were fucking fat. There's no muscle mass in these bodyguards, quote-unquote bodyguards. But the Sniff Brothers are absolute legends now. I feel like they need their own documentary by themselves. So, that was episode 3. Episode 4 was absolutely epic. It was epic. So, I think we should take a break. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we will dive in to episode 4 of The Last Dance. So we're back. Episode 4 of The Last Dance recap comes right now. What management, has said to Phil Jackson is his final year as a head coach with the Bulls. And he continues to seem like the only one who can steer the unique and singular, Dennis Rodman into the right direction. We start to see this relationship with Rodman and Phil Jackson. We learn who Phil Jackson is. We learn more about Dennis Rodman and the relationship they have. And we see Michael become Michael in a matter of minutes in this documentary. It's unbelievable. But let's start off with what we left off with in episode 3. Rodman, off into the sunset. He's gone for 48 hours, needs a little break from everything. Will that vacation? Well, didn't last 48 minutes. A lot longer than that. First person we see on the screen for episode 4, goddamn right, it's Carmen Electra. And holy shit, she looks fucking good. She is a dime piece, dude. Looks fire. Oh my god, I'm lost for words. She was fucking fantastic. Amazing. So now we see this in the relationship they had, right? And she said it was a lot to handle. I mean, it was an occupational hazard to be Dennis's girlfriend at the time. Going out, drinking, partying, random people, getting fucking hammered during this 48-hour bender. So, of course, it was way past the 48-hour curfew, and no one knows where he is. So Michael wanted to, did it himself. He was pissed. He said, I'm going to fucking Vegas and get this motherfucker out of bed. MJ basically says, I'm going to do it myself. And guess what? Knocks on the door. Holy shit. It's MJ, Carmen Electra said. Now, MJ basically said he doesn't want to know or doesn't want to say what was in or who was in the bed. Moments later, boom, Carmen Electra says, I had to hide under the covers. I was so afraid. I didn't know he was supposed to be at practice. First of all, great editing by the doc. Kind of going, Michael Jordan say he doesn't want to say anything, and then Carmen Electra just says it herself. It was perfect editing. But how hilarious would that be? I mean, I'd be scared shitless, honestly. Michael waking you up, and he's over your bed, saying, get the fuck up. It's time to go to practice. Let's fucking go already. What the fuck are you doing? So Michael gets Rodman out. Rodman's back with the team. Rodman needs to get in shape, as Phil Jackson said. So they started this drill called the Indian drill. I did that when I played college baseball, the Indian run, Indian drill, whatever you want to call it. The point is, you all start in a line, and you're running. If it's running around the court, or you're running in a circle, or you're running around a baseball field like I used to do. We used to not run around the bases. We used to run around the perimeter of the field. So it's a long run. And you're supposed to do a nice, slow pace. So how it starts is the guy in the back, the last guy in the back starts. He runs a dead sprint up to the front, and as soon as the guy that's in the back, that starts in the back again, sees the guy that was running is more than halfway there or just to the front, then the guy in the back, he runs on a dead sprint. And it's just, you've got to keep it going, and it's a revolving thing. So last person sprints, the guy that was in front of him, then he goes around, and then it goes around and around and around. So MJ wanted everyone to go slow because no one likes that one guy in the front of the line on a dead sprint all the time, so it makes it hard. So now it's Dennis's turn to run and sprint up to the front. And then when you're supposed to get up to the front, you're supposed to slow down and get that nice pace so then the next guy can get up and catch up. Well, Dennis said, fuck that. I am in shape. I'm good. Fuck you. It took the whole team 4 laps to catch up to Rodman because Rodman just kept going. That's fucking crazy. This man went on more than a 48-hour bender. Was fucking hammered, fucked up. Pounded out Carmen Electra. Wakes up, MJ wakes him up, goes into workouts with the team, and outworks everybody. Nobody can catch up to him. But this is what Michael was saying. Look, you could do all this shit and party, getting fucked up and going out, whatever. But look, he is mentally there. He is. Once he gets on the team, once he gets in the practice, the facility, once he is on the court, it turns off. He's there. He's going to be that guy who averages 18 boards a game, 16 boards a game for you. He's going to be there. So it was a big learning experience for almost everybody on that team, even Phil Jackson. So we start to see the relationship between Dennis Rodman and Phil Jackson now. Phil, this Montana kid, lived an early life with a lot of, this religious aspect in his life, and he kind of went the route, played sports route, but he was also, Phil Jackson's really into the Native American, heritage with all this old artifacts and, this wisdom of peace and love and whatever. So Dennis and Phil had this Native American bond right out of the way. And it seemed like Phil was the only person that can get him. He looked at him as a friend. Phil wanted to see him win and succeed in life. No one understood Dennis until he came to the Bulls, and Phil just like, look, I got you, brother. Phil was very different too. There were these, introverts and kind of quirky and weird dudes, and they both worked together perfectly. And Phil was this like father figure to Dennis, saying, dude, I got you. I understand now. Just go, look, you can do your stuff. Just make sure you're back in time and help us win. Now, Phil was this guy that always brought the team together, always about being focused as one, and brought all this mental healing and meditation stuff to practice, and everyone loved it. I won't say everybody loved it, but they had to like it, and it worked. And then we start to know who Phil Jackson is from Great Falls, Montana. He was like, when he played in college and the NBA, he played like Rodman before Rodman. He was strictly defense. Well, 11 years with the Knicks, won 2 rings out of 3 NBA finals. He's a great player. We then learned that Phil was kind of this hippie and took acid. I tweeted out, when we started, hearing about his, upbringing and being this real, chill vibes and, into the Native American stuff and all this meditation. I'm like, oh, this guy definitely took acid. Within seconds of me tweeting it, they say, oh, yeah, we learned that, Phil was kind of a hippie. Took a little acid here and there. I'm like, no shit. So we learned that he starts coaching in Puerto Rico for the Superior League, hard-nosed basketball. I mean, people were throwing rocks at you, and if you lost a game, it was crazy. And even the mayor of the area that Phil was coaching in once shot an official on the court. Phil couldn't even coach games at home. It was like that hostile. So in 1983, he moves to Albany, New York, and wins this championship with this up-and-coming team. And then Jerry Krause finds him immediately and hires him. Now here we go with one of the coolest parts, personally for me. I've always wanted to know what happened and how Phil got the job. Because now I know Doug Collins he's having some success, He's having some success. 1986-87 season wins 40 and 42. 87-88, 50 and 32, losing the conference semifinals. 1988 and 89 lost in the conference finals again. But they're winning seasons, right? Because before Michael was there and before Collins, they were shit. So Phil becomes an assistant, and he's coaching. He's going to be the coach under Doug Collins. They also have Tex Winter, a brilliant basketball mind that's working as a coach on this coaching staff. Collins was learning a lot from Winter, but Winter wanted Collins to use the triangle offense. But Doug's way of coaching was give the ball to Michael. That's it. Winters and Collins got in a huge argument many times throughout that season, and the coaching style would really never change. As many times as Tex was saying, hey, let's do the triangle offense. Doug Collins said, fuck you. I'm doing the way we've been doing. We're winning games. I'm going to give the ball to Michael, and everyone else get the fuck out of the way. And then Collins had enough of it and moved Winters off the bench, and he's more off to like the statistics area. Not where the coaching staff and the benches were, and the players were. Kicked them off, moved them. So Jerry Krause saw this and said, you know what, Phil, I know you're a smart guy. I know that you're this young basketball mind. Why don't you work with the old Tex Winter? You guys will work together. See how it goes. So midway through Collins' second year, he thought he was done, basically. So by July 7th, 1989, Collins was fired. And Phil was hired as the head coach right away. And this is when the era absolutely changed. Doug, we all know, had the coaching style of give the ball to Michael. MJ now has to adapt to Phil's way of coaching, which is now the triangle offense. Because Phil was always working with Tex Winter. And MJ didn't really like Phil at first because Phil took the ball out of MJ's hands. So here is the triangle offense that people that are listening don't really know. Tex Winter basically invented this thing. Super brilliant guy. There are 33 options after that first pass with the triangle offense. And it keeps rotating around. The triangle offense has now become something that some coaches use now. Some coaches hate it. Some players absolutely fucking hate it. I mean, you guys remember when Phil Jackson was part of the Knicks organization and he was trying to implement the triangle offense to their coaching staff. And Melo did not like that too much. They tried using it, didn't work out, wasn't gelling, and then, the relationship between Phil Jackson and the Knicks absolutely blew up. And now there's a weird relationship now where, Phil Jackson won 2 rings. They really haven't been good since the 90s and even before that when Phil was playing there. Anyway, the triangle offense is implemented. MJ is having a hard time understanding why this is a thing, why this should be a thing. I mean, Tex Winter would yell at Michael Jordan to move the fucking ball. Move the ball around. But one player that really worked well with this was Scottie Pippen. Scottie worked really well with the triangle offense. He basically turned into what we know as today as a point forward. I mean, look at LeBron. He's a point forward. He can do it all. I mean, there's a lot of look at fucking Kevin Durant. He's 7 feet tall and he's driving up the court as a point guard at sometimes throughout the game. LeBron does it. KD. It's a thing now. And Scottie was really that guy to bring the point forward into the NBA. The point was, for the triangle offense, the biggest icon doesn't need the ball at all times. So that's what happened. MJ is starting to understand that he didn't need the ball at all the time. He didn't need it. But it took about till the 1990 season, this is what B.J. Armstrong said, it took about the 1990 season to understand that they were actually playing well with this triangle offense and finally understanding. Okay, so now we are in the 1990 Eastern Conference Finals, right? They're now at a Game 7 with the Pistons. And this is one of the more tragic things I think I've ever watched because we know Scottie is working extremely well with this triangle offense. Scottie talks about, and Michael talks about, the Scottie Pippen migraine game in Game 7, Eastern Conference Finals in 1990. He woke up feeling like dog shit. He couldn't see, was going to throw up. He was seeing double, couldn't get his eyes straight, and he was playing like shit, and he took him out. And all that going on, imagine all that going on. And he has to guard Dennis Rodman. Bulls lose Game 7. They said in the doc, the players said that nothing was said for them for a moment, for a while in the locker room, because they knew they could have won this game. And Michael Jordan cried on the bus for a long time. His dad told him, hey, look, it's just a game. Come back next year and go get it. So now we're talking third time's a charm against the Pistons. Instead of going on vacation and, getting ready for the summer, go have a good summer, and then we'll get back to it, after the summer's over and we pick it back up. No, sir. They started right away and went to the gym. MJ saw that he was getting his ass beaten again for the second time in the paint and overall getting his ass beat by the Pistons, and he's had enough. So MJ wanted to put the beat on the Pistons and not the other way around. MJ put 15 pounds of muscle on in that summer, and he would never stop. We also get introduced to Horace Grant, who became a huge part in this 1991 Bulls team. So now it's the Bulls' year. They fucking killed it, dude. Absolutely killed it. They won 61 games, murdered it through the regular season. Now we're against the Pistons now. Game 1, Bulls win. Boom. Game 2, Bulls win again. Oh yeah, Game 3, Bulls fucking kick ass again. So now we're in Game 4. The Bulls are absolutely putting a whooping on the Pistons. Young Dennis Rodman, who in that year averaged 8 points, 12 boards, played every single game, pushed Scottie Pippen really hard. Really hard. into like the camera area and also where the fans were sitting under the hoop. And it didn't hurt him. It looked like it did. I'm sure it did, but he didn't show any sign of pain. Didn't need no Band-Aid. Wasn't going to come up and go fight Rodman. He didn't respond. Now, John Sally said, look, we saw that. We knew it was over. And guess what? Showed a shine of strength from Pippen and the Bulls. It was over. Game 4 winner. Bulls win. 115-94. An absolute killing. And now they go play the Lakers in the NBA Finals. But the main focus of this was in 1991. After the game, the Bulls and Pistons, first of all, we all know they hated each other. Pistons did not show any fucking respect. Any respect after the game. Like zero. Pretty fucked up. So, usually you dap up, say like a good game, whatever. No, hey, look, you got your fucking ass beat, right? Fine. But they just put their heads down and legit walked out. Lambier was the guy that was like, look, we're gonna follow them and go. Which is funny, you didn't hear anything from him in the documentary. Nothing. I'm sure we're done hearing about the Pistons now after this point. Because we're gonna be talking about what we predict episode 5 and 6 are gonna be. But we don't hear Bill Lambier at all in this doc. I'm sure they asked him to talk, and as we can see, he said, "Fuck you, I'm not talking shit. I'm not talking about anything." Because we saw John Sally, we saw Rodman, we saw Isaiah Thomas, Thomas said this was the first and only time he's ever been swept before. And the Pistons just walked off the court. Horace Grant straight up said, straight up bitches, which they were. But Horace Grant was kind of a bitch too, if you really think about it. He would always bitch and moan when he get elbowed or whatever. Michael said, yo, you fucking do that, you're showing a sign of weakness, and then they were fucking winning. And he was kind of a complainer, what Michael would say in the doc. He would say he's more of a complainer. But Grant was right in this sense that the Pistons straight up bitches fucking walking off the court. It's kind of a dick move. But then Isaiah is trying to back it up now. Isaiah said in 1988, Eastern Conference Finals, Celtics was walking off the court too. Isaiah tried getting some of the guys over to shake their hand, whatever, and they just kept walking. Bird left the game before the game even fucking ended. And so that's what the Pistons did. Now the Pistons do the same thing in 1981. And Thomas says, when you lost, you leave the floor. Rodman said, we didn't even shake hands. Just walked off the court. Fuck you guys. Thank you for kicking our ass. Now Michael is shown the comments from Isaiah. And he says, you can show me anything you want. There's no way you're going to convince me that he wasn't an asshole. And guess what? He kind of was. MJ and the Bulls back in 89 and 90 shook their hands after losing to the Pistons in back-to-back years. You saw Michael lose an interview, like a post-game interview with Michael on the court after losing, saying, hey, look, in 1990, hey, look, you know what? Better team won. Hope they play well in the NBA Finals against the Lakers. Hope they do well. But that's what you're supposed to do, I can't see nowadays you get an on the court conversation with the losing player, a clip like that. I feel like you don't see anymore. But you're going to see the dap ups. You're going to say, hey, a good game, or the wave, or whatever. But look, I think my personal opinion, this is some bullshit. The Pistons should have been bigger than that. That's a bitch move. Straight up bitches is fucking right, Grant. Fucking absolutely right. They were straight up bitches. That's fucked up. Own it and be a fucking man about it, I don't know. It's just, that bothers me big time. Absolutely. So now we're going back, 1991 NBA Finals. We have the 61-win home court advantage Chicago Bulls playing the 11-time champions, the LA Lakers. Air Magic was the big title of this series. Jordan, Magic. Look, the NBA, this is what the NBA wanted. They wanted this huge transition, right? They wanted from Bird to Magic to Jordan. And now they have Magic and Jordan facing each other in the NBA Finals. Look, Bird and Magic saved the NBA. And now you have the best player in the NBA versus arguably another amazing, maybe the second best player overall in the NBA, in Magic Johnson. So the Lakers win by 2 in Game 1. Bulls pissed off because, one, they beat him at home. But the Bulls know, hey, look, we didn't play our best. So they kick ass in game 2. You see the famous switch of the hands move by Michael Jordan, which I don't know if he really needed to do that or not, but it looked fucking awesome. Pippen played the best defense of his life in this game. Magic Johnson is the best point guard of all time. That's my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people are saying the same. But the best, at the time, absolutely the best point guard in the NBA. And Pippen played him like white on rice, bro. Peter butter on jelly. Like that shit. Fucking close. Amazing defense. Bulls win game 2. Bulls win game 3 and 4. So now it's a 3-1 series lead by the Chicago Bulls. And in game 5, an unbelievable matchup. Back and forth affair. MJ figured out something that helped them in game 5 to win the series. Bulls were tied at 80 after 3. They're on the bench, about to start the fourth quarter. And Phil says to Michael, "Who's open?" And just say Paxson. So fucking pass to Paxson. She's like, all right. The fact that you got that much power as Phil Jackson had to tell Michael what the fuck to do. Nobody told Michael what to do. Nobody did. LeBron's fucking coaching the coaches. Now, are you kidding me? LeBron's more of a coach than the coach that's on the fucking bench. But Phil Jackson had that respect. And everyone in the world knew in game 5, fourth quarter of the NBA Finals, that MJ was going to shoot the ball. But there was some sort of click that he's like, all right, I'm going to trust my guys. So MJ found one play where he drove the basket, everyone diverged to the middle, and then he kicked out to Paxson. What did Paxson do? Fucking splash. 3. He's like, oh shit. It took Michael Jordan 2 years to figure this shit out on the triangle offense. It's going to fucking work, right? Bulls win in game 5, and finally they're champions. That thing with Paxson, dude, it was every time. Kick out, kick out, kick out, kick out. Fucking Paxson was on fire. And they win the series. After the game, Jordan, you see the signature play. The signature clip. There's still photos. There's video footage. We saw Jordan crying. Forehead on the Larry O'Brien trophy. Crying. It was amazing. It was a beautiful thing to see. We all know Michael Jordan has his anger and strong passion, will to win. He will win at all costs to win. He'll do anything to get a ring. And he gets it, and he just finally lets everything go. And he starts bawling his eyes out. It was honestly, truly a beautiful thing to see from a competitive athlete like him. That all he wanted to do was fucking just win a ring. That's all he wanted to do, and he did it. Look at LeBron, kind of the same way. Remember when he won in Cleveland for the first time? He finally wins in Cleveland. He won rings in Miami. He goes back home. All he wants to do is win in Cleveland because the first go-round, LeBron did not win. He came close a couple times, but lost in the Eastern Conference Finals a bunch of times. Lost in the NBA Finals. He was so fucking close, and he finally gets the chance, and you just see him on the court, on his hands and knees, just crying. And you're seeing a lot of resemblance between Michael and LeBron in this, and also I'm sure we're going to see a lot of resemblance, of course, with Michael and Kobe. I think we saw some, preview shots of them two together. So we have this beautiful scene, and then another funny thing we get to see is that on the plane back to Chicago with the ring, with the trophy, Scott Burrell, who was one of the role players on the Bulls at the time, Michael Jordan was singling him out. It was hysterical. Talking about he was this alcoholic, mom and dad, your son's an alcoholic, on camera. You had a hangover this morning. What the fuck you talking about? And he's like, you get some sleep. You single man. You're going to be committed. And, Scott's like, dude, stop. My parents would watch. He's like, I don't fucking care, dude. They're fucking probably got so fucked up, smoking cigars, having a good time. And then right before the episode ends, we see, again, they're going from the past into what the main part of the documentary was the 1998 season. We're now ending again with episode 4 with a moment in 1998. Michael said, I don't want to play for anybody else because Jerry Krause is talking about, again, right before the All-Star break is where we were at in February of 98, saying, look, we're not bringing Phil back. I'm done talking about it. We're not bringing him back. Michael says, I don't want to play for anybody else. And then Krause says, if Michael chooses to leave because there's another coach here, then it's his choice, not ours, to leave. How does one person fuck it up so bad? So Krause stirs this up with Michael and Phil, and the Bulls lose on the road to the Utah Jazz. Michael is now in that Bulls team, which is an unbelievable team in 98. Everyone knows the Eastern Conference is the Bulls. That's it. And we're going to see now in the clips that we watched before the episode ended that this was probably going to be, which eventually was, the NBA Finals matchup. And this was a great test for this Bulls team. With all this drama going on behind the scenes, can they win? And they lose in Utah. And then we heard new radio clippings and radio show talkers talking about, after the game, the stir up between Krause and Phil and Michael, blah, blah, blah. And the last thing they said, the last things we hear in episode 4 is this the end of the Bulls as we know it? What a cliffhanger. What a way to end an episode. Now we're going to wait a week. It was great. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely fucking loved this. It was great. So now we see a short clip of what is maybe going to be 5 and 6 next Sunday. This upcoming Sunday. We saw it on Scott Van Pelt's SVP and Sports Center. It looks like Horace Grant in those early 90s is not getting the love that Michael and Phil and Pippen are getting. They're not getting the love, and the Rodman not getting the love, whatever. And Grant sees it's like, hey, look, how come I can't get the same attention? So there's rumors that the press are getting some sort of inside information, and everything's leading to Horace Grant. And then there's other things we've seen from the previews is that Michael Jordan is becoming the most popular athlete all around the world. What we saw in the preview is that they're showing commercials of him, advertising, Spike Lee commercial with Nike, whatever. I think this is when we start to see him become this globally. I mean, we all know by the time he won the championship, he was this global ambassador for the NBA. But now we're going to be seeing all this footage of him going through that moment of becoming the face of the NBA and the face of sports, practically. And we get to notice that the Dream Team is being assembled. God, I'm so excited for this. So excited. And we're going to see more about winning and losing and get more footage about the 98 season. But look, this is what we got to wait. I mean, I wrote 6 pages last night. The episode 4, the second time it aired, ended at 2 in the morning. I finished my note taking around 2:15. I sat in my bed. I had a little notepad. I was like going old fashioned here. I had a little notepad. I had my phone. I was live tweeting also at the same time. If you want to follow me, it's at Taylor Ringgold on Twitter. And then, of course, on Instagram, it's Taylor_Ringgold. And then to the Bench Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. I was taking notes. I was live tweeting, and I had a little notepad, pen, taking notes. I had about, this was a short notepad, but I have about 4 pages of notes. So, and then after that, I took those notes, put it on a piece of paper, I put it on my Google Docs, and then I watched it again in the background, just hearing it and writing shit down. Look, I'm working my butt off here. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm so excited for episodes 5 and 6. So excited. I can't wait. I hope you guys are liking these bonus podcast recap shows. I'm enjoying talking about it, taking the notes, because I'm going to save these notes forever so I can go back and look at the hard work that I did. So look, remember, Sunday on ESPN, episodes 5 and 6. Then our recap show will be either aired that Monday early in the morning, or I'll update it. I will put it out Monday during the day, like noonish, 1 o'clock. Like right now, I'm taping right now, so it's about 12:15 now. It's been about an hour, so I'll be uploading this as soon as I can. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. Stay safe. Wash your fucking hands. Put a mask on when you go out. Put some gloves on. And stay away from people, okay? Just stay in and enjoy this fucking amazing, amazing documentary. We are only on night 3, kids. We're about to hit night 3 on Sunday. 5 and 6. I'm so fucking pumped right now. All right. Catch everyone next Monday for another The Last Dance Recap podcast. Peace. Tell me what I want, just keep searching on. It's never enough, cup after cup, blunt after blunt. I wouldn't get one if I could find a far. In the car, and I put it on my mama. And my bitch call, talking about some drama. I swear there ain't no time for women on the karma. It's either pussy or the karma. Man, I just wanna go flex. Gold on my teeth and on my neck. And I'm stone cold with the flex from the squad, and I'm smoking up a check. Man, I just wanna go flex. Gold on my teeth and on my neck. And I'm stone cold with the flex from the squad, and I'm smoking up a check. And I just wanna go flex. Gold on my teeth and on my neck. And I'm stone cold with the flex from the squad, and I'm smoking up a check. Yeah, push the gas, get a motherfucking nosebleed. She ain't never met a youngin' do it like me. She got a man, but she said she really like me. She doing things to excite me. She sending all her friends snaps on my new tracks. Cause all these hoes know what's about to come next. I hit my plug up, got the paper connect. I drop a couple bands, I just wanna go. Man, I just wanna go flex.